Hi, everybody. Radical Gardener here. How are you? August 28th or 29th. It's a Friday, 2020. Uh, well, let me tell you what's going on weather-wise. The hurricane completely missed us. Unfortunately, it went through Louisiana, and I guess Texas got a bit of it, but it completely missed here. So once again, yay our team. Sorry I'm doing that. I just got done with some tea. So the garden is doing great. I'm going to put in another planting of, I think, eggplants because they're doing so well, and maybe some more tomatoes and maybe some more okra. We'll see. But it's getting into September, so I have to check my chart and see what's a good thing to plant. I also got this incredible grass that's like a purple fire grass. And I found this great site called Steam Bank Gardens, and I will put the link below. And they ship live plants because the same thing's happening here that happens anywhere that you live. The garden stores only have so many varieties, maybe 20, maybe 30 varieties of plants. People tend to go to the same plants to put into their gardens. And I really want to have a variety, and especially ones that are native to this area. So I think the other site I found was Plant Delights. Again, I'll put that below too. So I'm finding the most incredible plants that I can put for my butterfly, fruit tree, bee garden. And so I also realized while I was, kind of putting the garden together and still working on it, is that I really should get 5 of something. So I'm creating kind of a moment of that specific thing. And then I'll put 5 of something else and 5 of something else. So I have these clumps of color and, it just will flow better than if I have one of this, one of this, one of this, 2 of these. I was looking at some of the English gardens, and that's kind of how they do it. And then they'll put the odd plant here and there that, kind of peeks through. So I do want variety, but I want to create, where you're, really getting hit with that particular plant. Anyway, you'll see what I'm talking about when I get around to doing it, and I'll be planting those plants in on Sunday. The thing is when you get plants shipped to you, you want to slowly acclimate them out into the direct sun, even though they may like sun. Okay, so really this video is not about gardening. It's about something that I really had on my mind. Ever since the fake pandemic happened, there's something that struck me right out of the gate was that sick people, and I've mentioned this in a couple of my videos, sick people and healthy people cannot have a rational discussion. And why is that? So, masks are a real issue. I mean, it's a real breaking point for people. It's like Democrat or Republican, wearing a mask, not wearing a mask, right? Vaccines, not vaccines. I mean, these are real polarizing issues. And, I've managed to make my home a fear-free zone. Anybody that comes in here, I tell them to take their mask off. I hug people, I shake their hands, I make a cup of tea. I do what I can to be as normal as possible, whatever that means, in the craziness. But what I've noticed is that people that are afraid of getting sick or are sick are hanging on to this like mask thing. And if it wasn't a mask, it'd be something else, believe me, a helmet, whatever. They're hanging on to it as if it's going to change something in their lives. And it's not going to change anything. As a matter of fact, it'll speed up them becoming ill. But they can't hear you because they're so inundated with fear and that they just can't hear any kind of a rational thought. There's not one study, not one, that has been done, an extensive study that says that masks are safe. Not one. But there's been many, 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 many studies that have said that they don't work and they're not safe long-term use. But so even though that you'll present that, they aren't gonna buy into it. So it seems to be a certain type of person. Not always, but pretty much. It's somebody that follows the rules and never questions anything, which horrifies me. They don't want to make waves. They don't want to have any kind of confrontation. They're just going to do whatever they're supposed to do. And that always leads to absolute destruction, actually. It's awful. I mean, imagine how do you think the whole, wiping out of like entire cultures, how do you think that starts out? But there's also, the people who are just sick and they've been sick for a long time. Most people can get well, not everybody. So for the people that truly have been afflicted with something that they really had no part in, it just happened. Let's say, Parkinson's disease or, a lot of those kinds of things. I get that, I get that happened. And that there's fear there, because it's speeding up, your demise. Okay, so I get that. But most people can do something about their health. But they're victims, and you cannot talk to a victim. And I mean, you can't talk to a victim about anything. I mean anything. Because a victim is a victim. It's somebody else's fault. They cannot take responsibility for their own well-being. May it be mental health or physical health or spiritual health. It's just somebody else's fault. And as long as it's always somebody's fault, or as long as you've always viewed life as that it's something that's just happening to you, there's no way out. It's just somebody else's fault. Somebody else caused this, right? The body wants to be healthy. It wants to be healthy. That's why I don't really resonate with mainstream medicine, because they just see illness. They don't ever see wellness. They don't understand that the body is always seeking health. You just have to give it something natural to resonate with what it's actually asking for, right? And you can see health. I mean, as you know my story, I had mold, got rid of it, arthritis, got rid of it, adrenal fatigue, got rid of it, a polluted liver, which was causing a lot of those things, no more. What else? I mean, there were a lot of things that were really coming down around me, took off a lot of weight. I had some major falls in my life. I've broken my back twice. I fell downstairs backwards once, and I fell down another flight of stairs and really screwed up my shoulder. But I knew there were solutions and that I could come back from it because I always believed that my body wanted to get well. And the minute somebody told me, well, you're always going to have problems with that, I thought, oh, no, I'm not. Like, there's no way. I am going to get well. So I was always in action mode. So, when you break your back, yeah, you break your back. But, I had grown up with the Palmer chiropractic adjustment, which is the original putting your head on straight adjustment that Palmer, who invented chiropractics, it was the only adjustment he did, and it allows the body. You're not forcing the spine or anything into any kind of a position, or you're not forcefully moving it. What you're doing is you're getting an adjustment. It allows the head to straighten itself and the body to align itself because you've opened up the circulation. And so all that information is going up to your brain and coming down, right? So your circulation starts to really become very friendly to what it is that you're trying to correct. So I'd been getting that since I was 12 years old. So that was, and that was something I wanted to do even at 12 years old. And I could see what the benefits were of that. And, when I fell downstairs backwards, and that was was it right before I started making videos? I don't know. It was, maybe not. It was when I was living on the island. So, and I started making the videos in Berkeley 4, 5, 6. So maybe 6 years ago, I fell down these stairs backwards. I had my bird on my hand, so I didn't break my fall because I didn't want to hurt the bird. Oh my God. And I am telling you what, I screwed up my leg. And went one of the few times I went to the hospital, they told me there was nothing wrong with my leg. There couldn't have been more wrong. And so, I've spent the next couple of years doing craniosacral and getting adjustment and doing massage and really taking it on, right? So to me, or for me, there's always been a solution. And so let me move on. The other thing that I've noticed is that when things happen to people, that a lot of people die in their life, or, I don't know, someone got shot or they got stabbed or, whatever, when things happen to them, they just live in that drama and never get past it. So, you'll get this, poor me, this person died and that person died and this person died and this person died and, just poor me. And still it's years later living in the trauma of what went on 10, 15 years ago. There's a million ways out of that. There really are. There really are. But it serves them well to be victimized. It just does. But there's also something else that underlies our fears. I'm going to read this. I'm reading this book. I read several books at a time. This is called Awakening the Planetary Mind. And it's by Barbara Hand Clow. I really like her. She's a really good writer. She's a very good astrologer. She is Cherokee and Celtic. But she has something here I want to read to you. And this kind of fits in why people are always living in so much fear. Where is that? Because I highlighted it. It's really good. It's right here. You will not wait long for this. Here we go. That is not it. Been to it. This happens all the time. Well, she talks about catastrophobia. And here it is. One thing we know about our ancestors is that they were deeply involved with the stars. For them, the cycles in the heavens mirror the cycles on earth. Yet, what were they really watching for in the sky? What did they mean when they said the cycles above mirror the patterns below? According to my legacy and those of many indigenous traditions, the stage is set again in the sky for big evolutionary breakthroughs, and we can all feel that coming, or that we're just really in the middle of it. This mystery play has actually already begun, and we are ready to seize its creative potential by playing our own roles. As with any drama, the sooner we put on our costumes and learn our lines, the better. In myths and sacred teachings, the story of this expected awakening was very protected until now. And you know what? Rudolf Steiner says the same thing. He was saying that America, explorers were banned from coming here by the church back in like 1100s, 1200s, 1300s. They knew about this land, but they knew that it was something that could really upset the balance of the world because it was a very different kind of place than, say, Europe. And there are many reasons for that. But she says, what is the story? According to my legacy and the teachings of many sages, the new energy coming to Earth from the galactic center informs us that we are a wounded species afflicted with global collective fear. As we heal this fear, we remember the cosmic knowledge, and then the galactic waves can activate our brains. And, she talks about there was a time back 9,500 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago, when there was a catastrophe. I was always disturbed by this prevalent belief in sin. Let's go back here. No, that's not it, but that's really a good part. I really like her. But anyways, and she says, we have that memory. So we suffer from catastrophobia. And it's really easy to manipulate us, and because we have this underlying fear collectively, right? So we're now in a time where we will be peeling away that fear. And I find it really interesting that this is where we're seeing it really culminate. And, mask is just part of that manifestation, social distance. You could just go on and on what's going on right now and how easily people were manipulated into it. It's because the fear is literally right here now. And it's really getting ready for us to peel it away so that we can move on beyond it, right? So that's great news, but it's really difficult when you're awake. And when you look around you and you really do feel like you're in the middle of Night of the Living Dead. I just can't tell you. Going out is just totally creepy. And the fervor of that people are hanging on to this thing that makes no sense is really just a sign of what the work is that we need to do as a society. So it's actually quite symbolic. You would think because I know this, I would have more patience for it, but I just don't. I'm all out of patience, right? I'm ready. Let's go. Let's evolve. Let's not be in the fear. But I can't even have this discussion with somebody that's afraid. You know, that's what's really frustrating. If you could sit down and say, listen, man, this is what's happening. We're in this collective fear, and you know, we have to not buy into it, but they can't hear that because they're busy being victimized. And it's, you know, this is due to something that's, you know, real in their life and happened in their life. And that includes being victims of a collective fear. So not until take action and say, I'm no longer afraid, and we will survive no matter what happens, right? Because humanity survived. That's the good news. Everybody didn't die. And why is everybody afraid of dying? You're going to die. Got news for you. You're going to die. All of you are going to die. I'm going to die. We're all going to die. As soon as you're born, you were dying. Got it? You're dying. And old people, they're the most afraid. You've lived this incredible life. You've had this a million incredible experiences. Why are you living in fear at the end of it all? You know? I mean, man, on the other side, that's where it's going to get interesting to hear tell. So anyway. Yeah, so, you know, forget it. It's just an impossible conversation to have. If someone is truly in fear and you're not, give it up. It's not going to happen. You're not going to agree, right? It is frustrating though, isn't it? Yeah. But in the meantime, I'm feeling great. Joe is feeling great. He's really healing up. I'm just deciding when I actually want to talk about what we've been going through. I do want to, you would know, and if you join my new forum on Facebook, which is called C60 and Beyond. So please, we're talking about, health remedies and what works for us. And not only C60, but what are some other things that, that you use that are from complementary medicine? You know, what works for you? So yeah, please, if you aren't following me on Facebook, please sign up on that forum because it's really cool. I mean, we're just getting we've already got over a couple hundred people. It's only a couple of weeks old. So there's some great information in there. And I talk about what's been going on with Joe and I. So I'm going to ask his permission and see if I can go into that a little bit more this week. The next video is going to be of the garden, and I want to thank you so much for listening to me while I have wet hair. I had serious pool time today. But anyways, Radical Gardener, from my garden to yours, may your garden always grow. You know I'm sending you a ton of love. And stay positive. Let go of the fear. It's not going to serve you in any way, but I'm sure most of you live in the moment, or you wouldn't be following this channel. Okay, everybody, see you later. Goodbye.